Chapter 9. Brilliant. The children watched the black dog jump over the wall of the zoo. He seemed even bigger. "Can we not just, go home?" asked the boy called Cormac. "No," said Raymond. "We have to stop him." "Yeah," said Gloria. She was puffing a bit. "And we know how to do it." "How?" "With Brilliant." "Oh, yeah." They were running into danger. They were running after it, chasing it. They all knew that. But running was easier than staying still, and no one wanted to be left behind, alone. "Look at it!" Ernie shouted, deadly. There were more kids running towards them from the other side of the park. "Breakfast," said Ernie. "Shut up, Ernie," said Gloria. "Only messing," said Ernie. "Rice Krispies'll do me." "Come on." They all kept running towards the zoo. But the zoo was shut. It was still dark, so everything was locked up and there was no one behind the glass where you paid to get in. The walls were very high. "He jumped over that," said Chantel. "I've seen him." "All dogs can jump," said Sunday. "It's too high to climb over," said Gloria. "What'll we do?" Ernie shrugged. "Don't know." "It will be open in a couple of hours," said one of the Connors. "We can wait," the boy called Cormac suggested. "No way," said a new girl, Alice. She'd just arrived and she was puffing a bit. She hadn't even stopped running when she spoke. "There's no way. I'm waiting." "Yeah," said another kid, then another. "We have to get the dog, remember?" "How but?" It was harder to stay brave when they were just standing there and it was cold and dark. The bad dream with the dog was still floating around their heads, whispering in their ears, "Useless." They kept staring at the wall. It seemed to be growing even higher. Then Raymond spoke. "Ernie!" "What?" said Ernie. "Hold me," said Raymond. "What?" said Ernie. "No way." "Go on," said Raymond. "I'll climb onto your shoulders." "No, you won't," said Ernie. "Listen," said Raymond. "I go on your shoulders." Paddy was about to object. He wanted to be in on the plan as well. But then he heard Raymond. "And Paddy can get up on my shoulders and all the others can climb up us onto the wall." "Cool." "Ah, great," said Ernie. "And everyone here gets to stand on my head with their mucky feet." "Oh, go on, Ernie," said Gloria. "It's the only way." She loved the idea. She couldn't wait to see it happening. "No," said Ernie. "I'm a vampire, not a ladder." "Ah, Ernie." "Can I bite a few ankles on their way past me fangs?" "No way, Ernie." Ernie sighed. Not fair. He stood with his back to the zoo wall and bent one of his knees so Raymond could start climbing. He held out his hands. "Come to Ernie." They all watched as Raymond climbed from Ernie's knee to his hip to his shoulders. Raymond rested his back against the wall. Then they watched as Paddy climbed from Ernie's knee to his hip to his head. Ouch! Sorry! To his shoulders, to Raymond's knee, hip and shoulders. Gloria and Susie and the new girl helped the little kids climb up Ernie to Raymond's waiting hands. Gloria nudged the new girl, Alice. "That's my brother," she said proudly. "Who?" said Alice. "The vampire fella." "Oh, no way," said Gloria. "The other one, Razor." "Is he in charge?" asked the new boy, Damien. "Yeah," said Gloria. "Kind of." Some of the others nodded. None of them knew Raymond, but they liked him. They liked being near him. He made them feel braver and a bit safer. "Who's next?" "Me. No, me." Ernie grabbed the smallest kid, a boy. "Come here, snack." "Ernie," Gloria warned him. "Only messing," said Ernie, and he held the boy up till Raymond grabbed him and passed him up to Paddy. The smallest kid was laughing. The others watched him climb up Paddy, holding on to Paddy's jeans and hoodie. He got onto the wall and sat down. They laughed and forgot why they were frightened. "Me next." They were all on the wall now, in less than 3 minutes. Gloria was the last to be delivered. "Here we go," said Ernie. He held her gently under her arms. Her feet left the ground. "Thanks, Ernie." "No sweat," said Ernie. She climbed past Ernie. "See you, Ernie." Past Raymond. "See you, Razor." And up to Paddy. She could see over the wall now, all the trees and the lake and the African section, way at the back of the zoo. The other kids made space for her, and she sat down. There was no one left, except the 3 boys who'd been the ladder. Paddy lifted one of his legs from Raymond's shoulder. He looked like he was going to jump, but he turned and grabbed the top of the wall. Damon and Alice helped him up. That left Raymond and Ernie. Paddy lay on his stomach on the top of the wall. "Hold my legs," he said to Damien and Alice. Raymond did what Paddy had done. He stepped off Ernie and turned. He held up his hands and Paddy grabbed them. Then Raymond climbed the rest of the way, holding on to Paddy's arm. Ernie was the only one left. "How will you get up, Ernie?" Gloria called down. "Haven't a clue," said Ernie. They heard a loud squawk and saw a big seagull fly down and land on the top of a rubbish bin near the wall, then fly, nearly jump off the bin, up over the wall, right over their heads. "Hey, Ernie!" "I know," said Ernie. "I'll follow the seagull. Nothing to it." They watched as Ernie walked away back towards the trees. Gloria began to think that he was going home, but then he turned and started to glide fast. He was heading straight for the bin. Just before he got to it, he stopped gliding and started to run properly, fast, really fast. Then he jumped. They gasped and cheered. Ernie's cape spread out behind him. It looked like he was really flying as he landed on top of the bin and jumped, bent his legs and pushed at the wall. Uh-oh. He went right over it. Gloria couldn't watch, but she did. She had to. She watched Ernie in midair as he reached back and grabbed the bottom corners of his cape with both hands and held them up. Ernie's cape had become a parachute and Ernie floated to the ground inside the zoo. He landed, fell, stood up and shook his cape. "Nothing to it," he said. The kids on the wall cheered and clapped. It was the coolest thing most of them had ever seen. Ernie stood with his back to the wall and Raymond lowered himself onto his shoulders. "Wipe your feet," said Ernie. Paddy stood on Raymond's shoulders facing the wall and the kids climbed and slithered down his back to Raymond, to Ernie, to the ground. They were all less frightened now, the bigger kids too, inside the zoo. Gloria landed, then Paddy, then Raymond. They were ready to go. But that was the new problem. Where had the dog gone? "Ernie," said Raymond. "What now?" "Can you see the dog?" "No." "Not from here, Ernie," said Gloria, and she pointed at the nearest bin. "From up there." "Gotcha," said Ernie, and he started to glide across to it. "That's so cool," said Precious. They all watched as Ernie jumped and landed on the bin. "See anything, Ernie?" "Over there," said Ernie. "The big things. What are they called? The elephants." He pointed ahead, a bit to the right. "They're going a bit mad," said Ernie. "Come on," said Raymond. "Come on," said Damien, who didn't see why they should do everything Raymond told them to. "Come on," said Alice, who didn't see why she had to do everything 2 skinny boys told her to. "Come on," said Paddy, who thought that Alice was lovely. They all ran together. They felt a bit bigger together, stronger, and their feet made a big noise on the path. There were no clouds now. The sky was clear, so they could see where they were running. They ran past the meerkats. "Go get 'em, kiddos!" "Who said that?" Gloria asked Susie. "I don't know," said Susie. They kept running. Damien wanted to go faster, to pass Raymond and be at the front, but they had to let the other kids stay up with them, especially the little ones. They weren't sure why, but they knew they needed as many kids as possible to catch the dog and rescue the funny bone. But it made their legs sore, having to run slowly. Raymond decided not to hate Damien, and immediately running slowly became easier. "What's your name?" he asked. "Damien. Mine's Ray." The kids dashed past the lemurs and spider monkeys. "I'm glad I'm not paying for this," said Paddy. "It'd be a terrible waste of money." Alice laughed, and Paddy was delighted. He was thrilled and all-powerful. He was going to punch the dog so hard he'd send him to the middle of next week. Or last week, he wasn't sure which. Alice was happy too. She thought Paddy was massive, and she decided in her head that they were on their first date. And her very first date. "Oh, look," she said, "the snake house." "Not interested," said Paddy. There was no way he was going to look at any snakes, but he felt terrible, like a coward. He could imagine punching the black dog in the nose, but he couldn't look at a snake or a building that had a snake in it. They ran past the lake and past the pink flamingo standing beside it, but they didn't stop to look. "This is a zoo. Hello." "Who said that?" "Don't know." Gloria was running with Ernie. "Is it good being a werewolf, Ernie?" "Couldn't tell you," said Ernie. "I'm a vampire." "Oh yeah, is it any good?" "It's all right," said Ernie. "It's a bit boring." "Do you like drinking blood though, don't you?" "I'll tell you one thing," said Ernie. "It beats the orange juice." "I hate orange juice." "You're nearly a vampire yourself, so." "Deadly." Gloria was feeling almost happy. The woods and the evil whispers were far behind her. They had the dog on the run, and Gloria knew they'd be able to beat him. They were off the main path and they were running along the forest trail, getting nearer and nearer to the elephants. They couldn't see as much now because the trail was bendy and the trees were close, leaning over like a green-brown roof above them. Paddy was still running beside Alice. He took a deep breath and spoke before he could change his mind. "It would be cool to come back and see the zoo properly. Together, like another time, wouldn't it?" "No," said Alice. All the breath left Paddy and he nearly fell down. He felt even worse now. He wanted to turn and run away, but he remembered why he was there. Paddy could see his dad sitting at the kitchen table in his dressing gown, looking sad. He could see him trying to smile, like he was trying to pick up 100-kilo weight, as if his lips and mouth were too heavy. So Paddy kept running, but he picked up speed and ran past Alice. Alice tried to keep up with Paddy, but she couldn't. She wanted to say more to him, but she'd run out of breath after she said no. She'd been going to add, "But I'd love to go to the pictures instead," because Paddy had seemed to think the zoo was boring, the way he'd said "not interested" when she pointed out the snake house. But Paddy had run ahead of her before she'd had the chance. Alice wanted to cry. She felt so tired and far from home. She just wanted to stop and walk away. But she kept running because of her big brother, Luke. The black dog had been at Luke, stopping him from sleeping, stopping him from laughing, and from making Alice laugh the way he used to. The black dog had changed Luke. She'd heard her mommy say that, and Alice wanted the old Luke back. So she kept running. The kids were still together, a big bunch of heads and elbows and knees. They ran past the red pandas and the river hogs. There was a lot of noise in the air. The animals were waking up. "The children are here." "Who said that?" "Keep going, come on." They were nearly at the elephant enclosure. They just had to run around one last sharp bend in the trail. The sudden corner made some of the kids laugh and bump into one another. Got you back, got you back. They all got around the last corner, and then there was the shock. The black dog was there. waiting for them. They heard his howl before they even saw him. It was a howl that ripped the zoo apart. Everything was gone. There was just the howl, a howl that stayed and became a word that hung there like a poisonous gas. Useless! The fright made them quickly tired, exhausted. It seemed to suck up all the air. They'd been up all night. They'd been running for hours. Useless! They sank to the ground. Raymond, Susie, Damien, Gloria, all of them. They all lay down on the murky trail. There was no talking, no protests, no animals hooting or roaring. The animal noise had suddenly stopped, dead. There was only one word in the air: useless. Gloria's eyes were stinging and sad. They were closing. There was a word she needed, an important word, but she couldn't remember it. She couldn't remember anything. She had to sleep. Useless! It was true. She was useless. She was too tired to do anything. Her eyes were so heavy and wet. She had to shut them, just for a minute. That was all she had to do. That was all she could do. Because she was useless. She was doing that now, closing her eyes. She was closing her eyes now forever. Excuse me? Gloria's eyes stopped closing. There was something pink waddling through the sleeping children. A flamingo. It was a flamingo. It was lots of flamingos. There was a big gang of pink flamingos, and they were all marching up to the dog. Gloria's eyes had started to close again, but excuse me, said the first flamingo again. Gloria could see the dog now too. A big, huge, angry dog. His eyes were red and there was yellow stuff drooling from the sides of his mouth. He was staring down at the flamingo. Yes, you, the flamingo yelled up at the dog. I am talking to you. Some of us are trying to sleep, you know. We need our 8 hours. Useless! We're pink, said the first flamingo. Of course we're useless. That's the point. She was a Dublin flamingo. You eat it. Gloria smiled. She couldn't help it. A talking flamingo. It was brilliant, she said. She remembered. That was the word she'd forgotten, the word she remembered she needed. Brilliant, she said again. The flamingo's head turned on its long pink neck and the flamingo gawked at Gloria. Oh, thanks very much, said the flamingo. She was being sarcastic. Too little, too late. A sarcastic flamingo, it was brilliant, said Gloria. The dog seemed to move, to shift, to push away, lift its head. Wake up, Gloria shouted. Everyone, come on, wake up. She looked at the dog. His eyes were even redder now and furious. His mouth, she couldn't even look at it. Its breath. She turned away. She couldn't face the dog. But she shouted, brilliant! She heard the groan. They all did. And the weight of the dog seemed to lift off them. She saw the dog's head move, pull away, further and higher. It wasn't as close to her. And the disgusting breath was gone. The dog was leaving. That's right, said the first flamingo. Go walkies, or chase a ball, under a car. Hello? Gloria started to laugh. The other kids were waking up. Some of them were standing again. Some of them were yawning. 1 or 2 of them were crying. But they could see it and feel it. The black dog was running away. Alice crawled across the ground to Paddy. Are you okay, Paddy? Yes, said Paddy. What happened? The black dog was here, said Alice. Look! The dog was running, charging across the elephant enclosure. Big clumps of muck shot into the air behind him as he ran. And he was tearing the ground. The dog was further away now, but still huge, only a bit smaller than the adult elephants. They could feel the thump of his paws in the ground beneath them. One of the elephants lifted its trunk and trumpeted, Get out of our garden! Oh, God, Razor, said Gloria. The elephants are talking now as well. They watched the dog run to the far edge of the enclosure, then jump. He stayed in the air for ages. It seemed like forever. Then he was over the high fence. Gone. Come on! Raymond started to run, and the other kids followed. They were awake again. They'd survived, and they had the big word, brilliant. They were winning again. They weren't tired now. They were full of oxygen and energy. The energy, the power they felt in their legs and arms came from the fact that they knew they were running. They were going to get rid of the black dog for good. Then they'd go home to happier houses. They ran back the way they'd come. They charged past the lake and the flamingos. "This is a zoo." "Hello," said the flamingo. "You're supposed to stop and look." Gloria shouted back at the flamingos, "You're gorgeous." "We know. Hello. Go catch that Brit of a dog." They were coming up to the meerkat enclosure. "Go get him, kiddos." The meerkat was jumping up and down, but he couldn't reach the top of the wall. "Come back to bed, Kevin," said his wife. "I want to see," he said. "Oh, I hope they are successful." "Me too," said his wife. "They will try their best." "Their best? Your ears are blocked again, Kevin." "Perhaps, my love," said the meerkat. "But my eyesight is perfect and your beauty makes my heart go jumpy, jumpy." Kevin's wife tried to smile. She loved Kevin, but she was very depressed. Poor Kevin. "No, no," said Kevin. "Rich Kevin. Expensive Kevin." The kids dashed past. Kevin looked back at the wall and shouted one last time, "Go get him, kiddos." "Who said that?" said Gloria. She saw the top of the meerkat head. "'Twas me." She saw the little head just for a second. Then he dropped back down to the grass of his enclosure. But she heard him again. They all did. "I wish you success." None of them stopped running, but all of them were amazed. She'd heard it before, but Gloria only now really understood. It dawned on her and the rest of the kids just as the sun began to rise over Dublin. All the animals can talk. The meerkat behind them confirmed it. "Yes," he shouted. "I never stop." He jumped again and tried to grab the top of the wall. "Come back to bed, Kevin," said his wife. "I want to go with the kiddos." "You have a job here," said his wife. "But my love," said Kevin, "that black dog made your life a misery. He has tormented you. He has filled you up with big unhappiness." He jumped again. "Stay with me, Kevin," said his wife. "The children will defeat the black dog, but—" "And your job here is important," said Kevin's wife. "Children love meerkats, especially you." Kevin stopped jumping. "Only because they think I was in The Lion King," he said. The kids were near the gate of the zoo. The air was full of the animals' messages. The grunts and chirps had become good luck wishes and shouts of encouragement. "Catch him, bop him, bite his bum." It was brighter now, dawn, and the birds all around the park were working hard. "Cheep, cheep, cheeper, cheeper." "Are you sure you're not afraid of the daylight, Ernie?" said Raymond. "No way," said Ernie. "That's only an old myth. The black dog's afraid though, isn't he?" "Maybe," said Ernie. "I'm not convinced, but—" "Why not?" said Gloria. "Don't know," said Ernie. "I can't work it out." "But it's not just brilliant though, is it?" said Raymond. "The word like." "He's not only afraid of that." "Yeah," Ernie agreed. "It has to be. My dog like fine. The only word he's afraid of is bath." The zoo was open. There was a man, one of the zookeepers, opening the gate. He was yawning when he heard a noise and saw a huge gang of kids running straight at him. His yawn became a silent scream. Ernie stopped in front of him and showed him his finds. "Say your prayers, bud," said Ernie, "and wash your neck." Then he ran after Raymond and Gloria. He shouted back at the zookeeper, "I'll be back." The zookeeper held on to the gate and his neck. He thought he was going to faint. "Here, mister," said Paddy. "Do we have to pay to get out?" The zookeeper had a breath left for one word. "No." "See you so," said Paddy, and he kept running. Alice was behind him. She thought it was the funniest thing she ever heard. She wanted to tell Paddy that, but she needed all her breath to keep up. The kids all ran past the zookeeper. They were gone. Early morning life seemed to be back to normal, although the animals inside were making a lot more noise than usual. All sorts of grunts and yaps and howls and barks and chatter. The zookeeper would go in now and shout at them. But the kids, the sight and the sound of all those kids, their excitement, it had reminded the zookeeper of something. He remembered now. He used to sing to the animals every morning before the black dog started to visit his house. He'd forgotten that, like he'd forgotten how to sing. He remembered something else now, something that cheeky kid with the black cape had said to him. He could still see the kids, the last of them, running out of the park. He put his hands to his mouth, made a trumpet and shouted, "I did wash my neck!" The end.